Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio.
We are still spilling the tea.
And committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
Live, direct.
it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Good morning, folks. Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing? We got a lot to talk about today. Good morning, Mr. Andy. Andy Martin's in the house this morning. Wee, Island Pearl, Miss Beulah, Strong Wilt, Damaris, Robert, Abby, and countless more joining us early this morning. Give me one quick second. I'm going to just send out the links and then we're going to get right into some of the things that are happening in our small community, but at times, very united, I think, on a singular thought. And I feel like today is most certainly one of those days. So we're going to try to dissect it and break it down a little bit this morning and see where we are with things, okay? All right. Let me see here now. So yes, good morning to all of you. Allow me to just have a minute to grab the respective links for social media. If you've not yet joined the channel, just a reminder here that we have a WhatsApp channel, which is the best way to receive all of the news alerts. That way you don't miss anything. And it's an opportunity to, you get your traffic alerts in a timely fashion. You get pretty much everything, all of the lost and found alerts. You get, of course, your you get your breaking news alerts. So anything that happens that could impact your ability to move around a bit, we make sure that you get all of those as well. So great way to get everything. Thank you so much for all of your messages. I've been receiving quite a bit of information, which we're going to talk about here this morning. I must tell you, my brain is very active during certain times. And this, of course, would be one of them, given the situation that we heard about yesterday. And I'm going to share some of my thoughts about that situation and, kind of where we're at this morning, trying to get as many updates as possible on where we are with things. So yes, I've just sent out the links to everyone, so everyone should have that information. Good morning, one, and good morning, all. Of course, Let me see. Let me just have a moment here. Oh, you can hear me on Facebook? Oh, okay. All right, so everyone has the links? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So we are going to, man, I've got a very, very heavy heart here this morning. Okay, so you guys know that Andrel Harris is missing. And so, you know, my heart was just very heavy after I heard that bit of information. And throughout the night, it was heavy as well. I found it very difficult to, I slept, but I had a lot of bizarre and unusual dreams about all sorts of really weird things. Oh my God. I don't know how to explain it to you. The more active my, if something's really going on that's really bothering me, my dream landscape becomes extremely active. And so I was dreaming about people living in Georgetown on the port. I mean, it was just so weird. And then I was dreaming they were like homeless, but they had made these makeshift tents. And then I was talking to some of them. There was a little girl there that fell off a bench. It was just so much detailed information. Like, I can't even tell you how vivid these dreams are. And then part of the dream, these two guys had given me a ride somewhere, Gianna and I, to go to this event because I wanted to go and interview these guys in the waterfront. And then when I went there, well, something happened. I don't know, like some stuff had spilled in their car. And then there was a big mess about that. And I was like, I'm going to just take responsibility for it. Just tell me how much it is to clean it. I wasn't sure if Gianna had done it or how it happened, but I'm like, listen, we were in the car, so I'll just take full responsibility for it. This is such a weird dream, I got to tell you. And then at another point in the dream, I was dealing with Miss Pat, who does my hair, and trying to tell her that I needed to come and see her and make it a part. My brain, I was having dreams and they were somehow interconnected, but they were just very, very weird. It just means that my brain, I'm just uneasy. My spirit is uneasy. My brain is uneasy. Everything is uneasy today for me. And so we know that Andrel is missing. And I'm hoping that he will be found safely. So all of us are, Andrel, if you're out there, I know you've disconnected from the world at the moment, but a lot of times I would see Andrel in court when he was the court reporter. And so there would be some opportunity to speak with him. And, we would have sidebar conversations and stuff between court sessions. And, I know everybody has a lot going on. This young man was in law school. He'd gotten as far as the PPC. I was actually very, very proud of him when I heard that he was doing law school because I know when you have a bigger dream of wanting to do something, what that's like. And being in media, I know that he has done that for a while. Like, he started out hosting the Youth Flex show back in the day. But I also know that the law was probably really what he was interested in. And that's why covering the court stuff was, I don't know if that piqued his interest over the years, but I'm sure it helped make him decide to kind of go in that direction. So I'll tell you what I know. And then I think, we just need to stay as positive as possible today and really just hope that he can come back to us. So, I think for a while he was trying to actually make a move away from the Compass. There'd been so much uncertainty there for years, as you guys well know. They were getting rid of a lot of staff, and he held on for a really long time, and he left obviously of his own accord. And I must say that, there were opportunities that had presented themselves to him, but for different reasons, he lost those opportunities. I'm not going to really go into the details of that because at the time that it happened, him and I spoke shortly thereafter, and not everything I know I put out there. And I thought that it was important in that instance to not say anything about the situation. Let me just put it that way. And as a result of that, I think other opportunities presented themselves to him, which I was very happy about. And he ended up moving into government. I thought that maybe that was a good fit for him because government can be a little bit more flexible in terms of your ability to study and go to school. They're more likely to give you opportunities and chances, right? So I was a little bit surprised when I heard that he had left government and gone back to Compass. I thought, wow, that was a little bit surprising. But they were doing a reboot of K-Man 27, so I think a lot of the staff are just very nostalgic about it. But I also think that he was under a lot of pressure from what I'm hearing at work, trying to work-life balance, perhaps. Work and individuals at work. He'd expressed some thoughts around that, as well as not everybody's easy to work with. Let me just put it that way. And even in the best of times, people are trying to, when you're trying to be the comeback kid, I think there's additional pressure. So there's that as well. So I think maybe it was just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of work. Even other people are saying, "Oh man, Sandy, I barely have time to do anything because I'm over there pulling double shifts and just working a lot." And maybe that's the nature of a reboot. I don't really know, but there were things also happening on the personal front as well. Relationship wise, there's some complications. I understand that we're fresh and trying to navigate those things. I'm not going to go into too many details, quite frankly, but what I want to say is whatever you're going through, and I think for men in particular, Caribbean men, I'm speaking to all of you this morning. A lot of you tend to suffer in silence, and you don't have to, There are men who, I applaud you when I see on social media that you talk about your mental health struggles, and there are people who suffer from depression. There are people who are bipolar. There are people who just regular stresses in life can get you down. Trust me, right? A lot of us have been there. And so I just want to encourage all of you that to know that there's professional help that's available to you, and you can reach out to people in this community who will point you in the right direction, who can get you the assistance that you need. In a moment of stress, these things can certainly take a toll on us, and you can sink deep in your situation, but that situation, I'm here to tell everyone, is temporary. Things will change, life will change, the sun will rise again. So, reach out to someone to talk to, reach out to someone for help, because I really think that help is there for you if you need it. And I don't want people to suffer in silence. And I think that unfortunately, too many of us have done that for years. And as a result of us doing that for years, we oftentimes will find, that we suffer in silence. And more importantly, we don't really get the help that we really desperately need. And so I want to encourage all of you to please speak to someone, because there is help, and people are there for you. So I don't know, my heart is just extremely heavy for sure this morning. And I'm we believe in prayer. A lot of you I know are praying, and you're hopeful that this has a positive outcome. And I'm hopeful, but my heart is also very heavy in a way that I don't really like. So sometimes, you don't know how much, and this is probably where, as a community, we could all do a better job of like expressing how we feel about people and how much we appreciate people, because we have so many people that we are proud of them, proud of their journey, where they've started, where they've come. And I do think that maybe we need to tell people that more often, quite frankly. Good morning, caller.
And please, good morning.
Morning.
I heard you talking about that this morning. I don't know the family. These people that I know. Remember, I have the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren there. We just lost one a few weeks ago or a month ago. In the country, in the community. It's rough. It's rough. I seen it this morning. That's the first thing I seen this morning in my family. It's so sad. But I'm just praying that everything goes well. He's alive.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Lucille.
It's so sad.
Yeah. Yes, I feel I think as a community, we're still so small, and it's times like this that I am reminded, and I'm often reminded, because I really do try to see the good in us as a community and as a people. But I am often reminded of how we all share together in our grief, and we all share together in our sorrow. And right now, the community just feels, I think, I think a lot of us, the sense of heaviness that I'm talking about, a lot of us are feeling it as well. Young people, I want to specifically talk to some of you now, because young, middle age, or old, life is going to throw things at us. And really, the question becomes, is it going to stick? You have to build up your resilience. And the way that you do that is you have to armor yourself with a number of different things: a good support system, good people around you that when things begin to take a toll, you can reach out to them. Like I said, you can talk. A lot of times, women are the talkers, and we express ourselves and so forth. And men are supposed to be strong and macho, and they don't have problems, or they can handle it, or I think as a society, as a whole, but definitely in the Caribbean, we put a lot of undue pressure on men to present themselves in a particular way. Oh, don't be a sissy. You can't cry. You can't be. Men go through the same losses as women. You know what I'm saying? So we cry, we get upset, so why are men not entitled to those same feelings and the same ways of expressing them? So we, unfortunately, I think, because of the way our society is, constructed, if you will, there's a social construct, which I think is completely wrong. We tell little boys, don't cry. You're a sissy if you cry. Well, that's wrong. Crying does not make you a sissy. Everybody, in my opinion, needs a good relief, and there's nothing like a good cry, honey child. There's nothing wrong with talking about how you feel, talking about your emotions. When you're upset, express that. That's why when you look at even the health of men versus women, men have heart attacks and life episodes like that are way different because they bottle it in. The research shows that you shouldn't bottle it in. Let it out. Go beat up what are those fake little dummies? You can kickbox them or whatever. Get it out. Kickbox it out, run it out, walk it out, yell it out, scream it out, curse it out. I know some of y'all don't like the cursing, Miss Amelia, but when you feel like a good, bleep, 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 just let them have it. Rip it. Just release it. Pray it out. So for some of you, that works. Whatever you need to do to find a mental release. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
This is Simon here. I was just listening to you a little bit before a call. And nothing wrong with a man crying.
Yes.
When I thought about them guys getting beat up at sea and it's a possible chance that they would lose their life, I cried a whole heap and afraid to tell nobody.
Yeah.
But last night, we got some help, and my mom came out of church to some good news that they got rescued.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their way to Honduras right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The Honduras authorities is who was instructing the boat owner not to tow the boat, take the souls off the boat and leave the boat stranded. And I just want to take some time out to say some thanks to some people, Miss Sandy, because I got some calls yesterday from people that I never thought that I would have talked to in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It got so tight yesterday that I was getting calls from all over, and I just want to thank everybody that reached out to me. Mr. Franz Manderson, Mr. Scotland, I think he's in charge of the Coast Guard, and then Mr. Kenneth Bryan got in contact with Mr. McKeever Bush. Then he contacted the owner for the boat, Mr. Jerry Hines. The boat had left the Cardburn, and Mr. Jerry Hines called him, tell him, say, listen, man, I'm going to turn back and go for that boat. He got instruction that he needed to bring in that boat. So they turned back and went for the boat. They reached back there about 6:30 last night. Hooked up the ropes, and Mr. Jerry Hines called me. He said, they're hooking up the ropes right now. Like towing the boat into return, we'll deal with the officials down there tomorrow. He basically told me he don't care what they want to say. He carrying the boat in because that was the instruction he got from Mr. Bush. Make sure that boat is safe. And I just want to thank them guys who working together with me. The Coast Guard, every day they was calling me. They was really making sure that they called me to find out what's going on or whatever they could have done. I'm thankful for the officers that were calling me, Mr. Brown, Miss Ramos, Mr. Borden, just want to say thanks to everybody, Marco. Yeah, we recovered the boat. And Miss Sandy, I would like to really for the government to change things around here, because a lot of Cayman unregistered boats here, and before my mother could even get the boat inspected, she had to pay up all of her maritime fees. And I just think that things need to change. The government invested a lot of money in Coast Guard, and they need to give the Coast Guard more authority or whatever to rescue Caymanian boats.
Yeah, maybe let's talk. Can I just pause you there, Big J, and say, let's leave that conversation for another day. Yeah, I'm just glad that everything is now resolved successfully, but we can leave that for another day. I feel like in this time and moment. Yeah.
All right.
But I appreciate you expressing the sentiments that it's okay to cry about whatever situation, we all respond to things differently, because there might be some young person out there now, or even an older person who's never had the opportunity to really release themselves through tears. And, they heard you say that, and I want that to sink in for a moment. That, here's a big strapping Caymanian man who just told y'all it's okay to cry. He literally just cried this week. So thank you for that, Big J.
Yeah. Can I add another piece onto that part? I've been through a lot in my life, Sandy. And I think the problem with us Caymanians is that we don't want to be a burden to nobody. So we try to deal with it on our own.
Yes.
And I think that is wrong. Whenever we need help, and we're in a position that we stress, we need to seek help. Reach out to somebody, because you can't do everything on your own. So thank you guys for listening to me, and I hope that the conversation touched somebody's heart, because we got to work together. All right. So you have a good day, and thank you guys for everything again.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, we will discuss those other matters at another time. I'm just glad that everything is now, resolved up to a point. Listen, so I just saw this comment here, and this got me to thinking. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy says people are saying that he's always happy and joyful person, and this is a good thing, but never think someone is okay just because they're happy and smiling. There are battles people fight that you sometimes have no idea. Having a person you can completely trust and have no issue being vulnerable around without judgment is so important. I actually want to touch on this, Tracy, because there's a very, very interesting article I think you guys should view. And there's been a bit of information in recent years talking about this, because there is this concept of if someone puts on a smile and they're happy, they're functional, they're going to work, that they are not capable of suffering from depression. They may not be suicidal and these other things. And I'm going to share this link here because it's called The Fallacy of Happiness, a psychological investigation of suicide among successful people. So we're always surprised. Remember, there was a former, she was actually a radio personality, former beauty queen. And I'm trying to recall her name. It's going to come to me. But there are countless examples of people who sounded happy, who looked happy, and then we hear that they committed suicide, and you think, how is that possible? Kate Spade, you guys might know Kate Spade. She is, the designer who made, a lot of you have seen her handbags and stuff, right? When you talk to the people around her, her brother was talking about how she was talking about her future, because everybody thinks suicidal tendencies present themselves in the same way. And this is why getting professional help is so important. Her husband was like, she sounded happy. She lived in New York, took her life in her Manhattan apartment. So talking about the future, making plans. The dancer for Ellen DeGeneres, what's his name again? Everyone is like, you know, he was so happy. He was always smiling and always dancing and all this sort of thing. So the signs, I think, can be easily missed. There's a very interesting article in the, did I just share that link, by the way? I don't think I did. My apologies. Let me grab it. There's a very interesting article, Twitch, thank you. There's a very interesting article about how nearly half of people with depression appear happy. And you have to know what some of the other signs are, because this condition is actually called atypical depression, right? Now, for you and I, we're Robin Williams. Thank you so much for that. That's another really, really good example. We're not professionals, so we're not trained necessarily, but I think it's helpful if we know what signs to look for, what behaviors perhaps to look for, how to give people support, and how to push them in the direction of the professionals who they're the ones who offer the most support available. Because in fact, people who have this atypical depression are quite adept at hiding their condition in a way. But the sad part is sometimes they call it smiling depression. The sad part is they are actually particularly vulnerable to suicidal tendencies. I'm trying to think of that young lady's name right now as well. So it's just really, really important that on an ongoing basis, right, we don't think of mental health as something that you only address during the tough times in life. And when you're having difficulties, you need to check in, I feel like, with people all the time. Because people have a tendency to really just suffer in silence, and they don't have to. I mean, more and more on this island, we have mental health professionals that are trained, they're readily accessible, they're available. I've had a friend say to me, you know, there was a time when unfortunately he was suicidal as well. And I was his, you know how you have a lifeline? That show, you get 3 lifelines. Well, when someone's suicidal, they may only get one. And I was his lifeline. And when he picked up the phone and expressed these feelings to me, I had to act immediately. I said, listen, give me 15 minutes. Give me 15 minutes. And I have a philosophy. I feel like one of these days I'm going to write a book called Give Me 15 Minutes. And the idea is give me 15 minutes, give yourself 15 minutes, and then give me 15 more minutes if I need 15 more minutes, and give yourself 15 more minutes, right? By time. And so I got on the phone, and I'm not ashamed to say I'm not equipped. And I got on the phone and I called Lizette. I'm like, you know, who do I call right now? Because he's expressed this to me. I can't afford to not take this seriously. And so I need the professionals to run, not walk. I need you to run to the rescue. Tell me now, where does he go right now? Where do I need to tell him to go? Send him to the emergency room. We will have mental health professionals there waiting for him. I will alert them that he's coming in, and he will have someone to talk to. If we need to put him on medication, now medication can be a very double-edged sword when it comes to treating depression. You know, I've been told a lot of people get on medication, they start to feel better. And it's actually when they're feeling better that they may end up taking their own lives. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound right. And it's because, well, there's a psychology around it. Again, going back to this fallacy of, the happiness, and it does sort of sometimes embolden people and give them the energy that they need to actually go the next step. So educate yourself as much as you can, but remember that mental health is like physical health. Is something that you have always got to be on the lookout for. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sean. Lavona. How are you doing?
Not bad, dear. How are you?
I'm okay. Just driving and hear this topic, and just want to say it's mental health comes in so many different forms these days. And I remembered I was saying to my daughter just now in the car that I remember a few years back when I got with my previous husband. I was actually happy and genuinely happy, and was posted a few pictures stuff on Facebook. And I had a friend of mine. We grew up together in the park, but she lives in Jamaica, and so she's back and forth. And she actually came down. Never forget that day. She actually came to my workplace, and she said to me, "I wanted to see you in person. I wanted to look you in your face to say, Lavona, are you truly happy?" And as she said, people post so much stuff on Facebook and stuff. And I said to her, I even burst out crying. I said, got emotional. I said, I am genuinely happy. That was very important to her, because she knew the person that I am. I'm not a person that I never used to have social media or nothing like that. And yeah, what I'm trying to, my point is that she took that time, came all the way from Jamaica, said she didn't want to speak to me on no phone. She wanted to see my face and see me and see what, to see if I was really telling the truth, like, because she knew, what used to happen before. And I could say that to this day from I met my husband. I am still genuinely happy, and I know how it is to not be happy. And yes, try to smile or try not to smile. It was after I got with him, I didn't realize that I wasn't smiling. It was so many people used to say to me, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that you could smile. You're so much, you look so much pretty or beautiful," whatever the word they wanted to use at the time, when you're smiling. And I was like, was I really that bad? I didn't realize that I really wasn't smiling. Because to me, I had nothing to smile about, that kind of way. So, and people don't know that about me. So, it just kind of touched me now that I could actually smile and laugh and just be myself, just freely and just genuinely, So, and I still feel that way today. Thank the Lord, that He changed that for me. But it's not everybody could say the same thing. So many people suffering in silence, like truly a lot. My oldest sister that passed, she suffered with bipolar. So, I saw different changes with her with different moods and stuff like that. So, see this person in the world, man, and then when she was off medication, it was different. It was two different worlds for her. Like, but, may she rest in peace. But it's just saying, I just hope that everything is okay for Andrel, and if he's out there, if he could maybe try and make contact, something. But I'm just hoping for the best for him and anybody else out there. Like I said, this month is mental health month, but mental health is every day.
Exactly.
I don't like when they put a month or a day to something, like Mother's Day. Mother's Day is every day. I don't even really celebrate it like that. I'm a mother every day. I don't care how old my children are, etc. Same thing with Father's Day, and every other day they put for one day. It's all the time. It's just a money-making thing for people to make pile of money or whatever. But anyway, going off track, but just saying, I just hope all just wishing the best and a positive outcome for Andrel. He's a really nice, cool guy, but like I said, and I'm saying, whoever is suffering, reach out for help. Go and speak to someone. And that's the next thing. People don't want to talk to friends or some family members because they feel like, oh, they're going to go and, speak their business and stuff like that. Well, go and speak to a professional. Persons don't like to do that as well, but it's out there. Help is there. I just want people to know it's there. Just reach out for it and accept it. And then, just make that first step. It's very important. Life is very precious. Just waking up in the morning is enough. Just wake up, thank the Lord you're up, and just go about your day. It's a recurrent thing every day we have to go through. And son is we'll talk, but I just had to get that off my chest.
Yes.
Because it's kind of rain, it'll have on me just pull off on side the road here. But
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thanks too. All right, dear. The reason why I mention celebrities because, a lot of people in this community still want to attach a certain stigma to individuals who take their own lives. It's only recently, I think it was 2020, we were talking about this at a workshop I did I think it was last week, that came out decriminalized taking your own life or attempting to take your own life because obviously if you're dead, they can't put you in jail. I'm like, what the heck? That shows where we still were and where we still are. And I know there's a lot of people when someone takes their own life, they're not going to go to heaven and this and that. I can't believe that people even at a time like that would even have that kind of a discussion. That is absolutely ridiculous. So I tend not to want to talk about too many local people, although we've had our fair share of people who have, taken their own lives by all sorts of different means. For example, Anthony Bourdain, he often came here. And I think that when people see broadcasters and presenters and, people who are on the forefront of like the media and, they do put out this particular personality that we all see and we think that that is who they are. And I'm here to tell you that that could just be one of many faces. So you have got to know how to look if you've got people in your personal life because you have more exposure to them, right? You have to know what to look for in terms of the signs that you should be encouraging them to ensure and encouraging everyone, like Lavana said, on a regular basis, to make mental health part and parcel of your everyday health and wellness. We've got a caller. Good morning, caller.
Morning, how are you? Well,
Morning.
I mean, all things aside.
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
I wanted to say two things. One, I'm really glad that you're on this topic, and I wanted to give the Alex Panton Foundation a big shout out because they have championed a lot of this work that's coming into policies and stuff like that. And they're championing trying to get more health insurance coverage for mental health. And I think that's so important because, as much as we can sit here and say, oh, there's help.
Right.
To some people, there isn't. There may be the toll-free hotlines, but as far as I know, the ones for adults are not open 24/7. I could be wrong. And obviously there's the emergency room, but for some people, just to have a therapy session seems so far out of reach for them, because of lack of insurance or whatnot. So I just wanted to thank the Alex Panton Foundation for, championing all that work and trying to get policy changes. The other thing I wanted to say real quick is, you touched on how some people, religious people, and I say religious people, I mean religious people, because I think there's a difference between religion and Christianity. Anyways, that's another topic. But you touched on how they view someone who died by suicide. And I just wanted to give my thoughts and my interpretation of scripture because my Bible says Jesus died for my sins, right? Past, present, future, all of my sins. If he died 2,000 years ago and he died for my sins, right, and I'm living now, that means he covered them all. So just like if I go out and I lie to someone, right, that's a sin. And then I don't get a chance to pray and say, God, please forgive me, and I die. Does that mean I'm going to go to hell? No, because I told a lie. No, if I'm a Christian, Jesus died for that. So it is my belief and my interpretation of scripture that if you die by suicide and you are a Christian, because I do believe that you can be a Christian and die by suicide because there are mental health issues, there's mistakes, whatever, right? If you are a Christian and you trust in the Lord and have repented from your sins and turned to him, I believe you're going to heaven. So I just want to put that out there for anyone that's struggling with that.
Yes, I appreciate
because I know,
that.
like you said, people have lost loved ones and they think, oh my gosh, they're in hell. No. If you know that person was a Christian,
yes,
they are in heaven. That's my belief. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's just another way, in my opinion, when I hear people say that, of putting this unrealistic expectation on people. I mean, it's so wild, you know. It's just crazy when people say that, and I'm thinking there's so many things that we say around religion that you have to really question, like, oh, God isn't going to give you more than you can handle. Well, sometimes it is more than you can handle, but the overarching message is that there is help. And for me, I'm saying just give me 15 more minutes, give yourself 15 more minutes. Let's see what help we can get you, because they are professionals who are trained. Good morning, caller.
Hello, Sandy.
Morning, dear.
This topic hits so close to home.
Yes.
And my heart hurts for anyone who suffers depression. Number one, it's you know, I'm an empath person. I feel other people's hurt, their pain, they're happy, they're sad. It's a curse, but it's also a blessing.
Yes.
People don't understand. If they've never suffered from depression, they don't understand.
Right.
There's no way they can understand. And it's not that I'm pointing a finger, because I'm not. I'm just saying that people do not understand depression. They don't understand the personal pain. It's the pain that's undescribable. It's almost like it's untouchable. And you really need to seek out. And let me say, when you seek out help, that is strength. That's strength. That's not weakness. It's strength. When you actually can say, I need help, or I need to speak to somebody. And any human being that walks the face of this earth and judges another person because they feel that they need to seek out, they need to speak to somebody. It's not you point a finger and go, oh my God, they're crazy, or oh my God, they're sick.
Yeah.
No, that's the wrong way to look at people who suffer from depression. And that's why so many people don't seek out help, because they don't want to be looked at or viewed that way.
Yeah.
Women especially have pointed fingers at men about their masculinity when it comes to depression in men.
Yes.
That men are, like you said, men are supposed to be strong. Men are the ones that, hold it all together. No. We are human beings just like everyone else. We have feelings just like everyone else. We don't need to cry in silence. I've been told more than once, oh, you're overly sensitive.
As though that's a bad thing.
But buck up. You're a man. You're not. No, that's all BS. It's all BS. And until society understands that we as men also at times need to be able and feel comfortable enough to fall backwards and know somebody's back there that's going to catch us.
Yes.
So, until, and God forbid anybody who does suffer from depression, God, I understand. I get it. God knows I get it. But when you seek out a therapist or someone to talk to, and you don't feel good with that therapist or that person that you've gone to talk to, there's another therapist. There's another person. Not everyone is going to be able to understand. For me, I sought out someone who suffered from depression or suffers from depression, so they knew and understand when I tried to explain pain, they knew what I was talking about. They experienced it themselves. All I want to say is, when I say it hits close to home, I know people who have committed suicide. And it's because we don't have another way out. That's how we feel. We don't feel like any other way out. There's no hug that's going to comfort that pain or take that pain away. There's no pill that's going to take that pain away. There's nothing in life that's going to take that pain away. That's that's the feeling in the moment. Like you said, 15 minutes, you take that 15 minutes, but you may need another 15 minutes. So you take another 15 minutes. Depression is a struggle. For some, it's a daily struggle. It's a chronic pain. It's a pain that never goes away. So all I can say for anyone out there, fight the fight. Because there's somebody out there that loves you, people out there that need you, and those people that are left behind are the ones who suffer. Don't put that on anyone. Don't be selfish, and that's what it is. When we take our life, it's selfish. That part is selfish. You have to keep battling on. You have to keep fighting. Don't take your pain and put it upon someone else.
And I don't even know, I'll tell you what, caller, mental health professionals can obviously speak more to this, but I don't even know if I want to put the burden on these people to say that they're being selfish. I know those of us who are left behind obviously feel that way because there are loved ones, there are friends, there are significant others, and we're like, were they thinking about us? And I think that, again, I've never been in that exact spot, but when I think about it, I'm sure that they thought this world was going to be better without them. And so from their perspective, it wasn't a selfish act. It was actually thinking of others, if that makes any sense. It sounds counterintuitive, but you know what I mean? They probably thought, well, the world is going to be better without me. So I'm doing the world a favor. I'm doing my loved ones a favor. I'm a burden to other people. So this is the solution.
At that moment. But the big picture, Sandy, the big picture,
yes,
it is a selfish act. In the moment, I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. But in the bigger picture, it's a selfish act. So when you get into that place of the deep, dark hole, I guess is a good term to call it, and you're trying to claw your way out of it, and you get to a certain point, and the side of that hole caves in, and you fall back down again, and you keep doing it over and over and over again, and you just think, God, I can never get out of this place. Don't give up. There is two things in life I believe in, Sid, is hope and faith. You got to have hope and you got to have faith that things are going to get better. It's going to be okay. We struggle, and every experience in life, as we know, is a learning experience for the next challenge that comes along in our lives. Life does not get any easier. I mean, don't anybody out there, don't be fooled. Life does not get easier. It's just learn these experiences through our life challenges to make it easier for the next time that it approaches us. All I say to people, don't give up. there are people out there. There are people out there that love you. There are people out there that care about you. And there's people out there that want you and need you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much, caller. I appreciate it. Lots of people appreciating the comments from that caller. Someone said, kaboom, caller, Miss Lily.
Kaboom!
Miss Faith and Hope says, that's true, caller. I allowed my son to cry out and I told him it's okay to feel the pain. You're right. Society put this on men about boys don't cry. Miss Ann says, this caller is right on point. Only those who are suffering and their relatives can relate. And sadly, there's not enough empathy for some of these individuals. This man is so right. Sorry. Miss Carol Jackson agreeing says, you're so right, sir. Andrea says, you're human no matter your gender and have feelings just the same. This is so sad. Cindy Blakaitis with us this morning. Thank you, Cindy. Says, well said, caller. Strength means asking for help. And so I think that we, Holly also sending a virtual hug to that caller. I think honestly that there are a lot of things that we've been taught and a lot of like narratives that we have in our head that we need to rewrite. We need to rewire ourselves. And, over 800 of you are listening this morning. Thanks, Instagram. I see you guys are tuned in, over 50 people over there alone. We need to have the rewiring. And part of the way in which we have it is by having these very frank conversations, right? 5 years ago, I was talking to someone yesterday because they want to join CMR TV and they want to do a show. And they were talking about some of the stuff. And they're like, I don't know if Caymanians are ready to have these conversations and stuff. And I said, listen, whether Caymanians are ready to have certain conversations or not, we need to have those conversations. We need to push the envelope, right? Because it's through the process of agitating a little bit, yes, maybe even agitating a lot, when we have these conversations, that we change the narrative, that we normalize depression. We normalize people who are bipolar. They're not put all the way in a corner in a box. Oh my God, they're so weird. They're so this. No, there are a lot of people who suffer from bipolarism. There are different types of bipolarism. Some people, it will be a lifelong struggle. Some people, it's related to, an incident that has happened in their lives why they're depressed. There's different types, but we have to normalize it. We have to normalize conversations around it. 5 years ago, I would have never had over 850 people listening to a conversation about depression, about suicide, right? We don't want to talk about these things. I'm telling you, a lot has happened thanks to wonderful organizations like the Alex Panton Foundation, like Addison Kelly, and the efforts that her parents and her entire family, her siblings and everyone have really made to try to talk about these things. And so I do think that it is important for us to continue to have the conversations. Good morning, caller.
Fanny,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm back at. Listen, I agree with what that gentleman said, but they say who feels it knows it. It's not an easy thing. Yes, you have family. Yes, you have children. No, yes, you have good friends. But at the moment, you're not thinking about that. It'll feel like you're on your own. So I know what I'm talking about. I agree with the man of some of the things that he said, but it is not as easy as he's saying it. I'm only praying that that young man is safe whenever they find him. That's all I'm praying for. Because I have my children and I don't know what in their minds. And anything can happen. It can happen to anyone.
Absolutely.
And I'm just praying that everything goes well.
Absolutely. And let me say this. there are a lot of people. I've got someone who is a family member. There are, I guess, a survivor. I don't even know if that's the politically accurate word, of someone who took their own life, and they said, listen, at this moment, the family members, Andrel's family, are out there. He's got, a fiance and a baby, and the people who dearly love him and care about him. We cannot put any label on where he is at this point in time, because we don't know. We don't have official confirmation. So let us not be defeating in their words and thoughts and say that, something has happened to him. We don't know that. Andrel could be just sitting on a beach right now, taking a moment, breathing in some air. Yes, we know he's turned off his phones. I'm aware of the messages and whatever that were sent to people that is making them very, very concerned. But he could be taking his 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So for the sake of Andrel and even his family members, we love you, Andrel, if you're listening. We're here for you. Whatever you're going through, there's someone who can help. So let's just stay positive, yeah? Someone said suicide is not selfish, and guilting people into staying here does not solve anything. And I think that is very, very important as well. So many people appreciating Andrel this morning. Miss Debbie says he's a great guy. Got to know him when he attended law school. And I hope that he's found. Agreed, depression is serious and should be recognized here for what it truly is. And it's not to be seen in a judgmental manner, rather one's own assumption. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I'm just sitting here and I'm wondering, is there, like, obviously the public is very concerned and they want to see him, found safe. I'm just wondering, maybe the RCIPS could give some guidance, but is there any kind of search party? Like, how can we help as the public? Like, walk the beaches in East End, or like, is there something we can do maybe to help with the search?
There are people asking, and I have reached out to them. I've not yet gotten a response in relation to this. So I don't know yet.
Well, hopefully the RCIPS is listening and they will respond to you, because
people want to know.
I mean, people want to help, and obviously the more people that are searching, the better. But obviously you also don't want to put other people in harm's way or whatnot, right? Like, if they suspect he may be in some place that is hard to get to or dangerous or whatever, you don't want people there. But if it's just a matter of, we need help, we need bodies to help search, then let the public know how we can help.
Yes. Thank you so much. Ms. Amelia says, yes, caller, it is a selfish act. The burden on the family is extremely hurtful. Please seek help, Ms. Amelia. I'm going to ask you to perhaps rethink that way of thinking. Again, these are the narratives that we've been had put in our head repeatedly. It is not a selfish act. And as someone who's a leader in the community, who I know is trying to do good and wants to be supportive of our young people, this is where sometimes we ourselves need to go to training. We need to go to mental health training courses for the average person, not that we're trying to be a mental health professional, and learn, and know that there's certain things that are helpful to say, and there's certain things that are very, very harmful to say. And that in fact, there's nothing about it that is selfish, because they're not thinking about themselves. I can tell you, if you've ever talked to someone who's attempted to commit suicide and were not successful, they will tell you they were thinking about other people. In fact, in some ways, it might be the most selfless, is that the right word? Selfless thing you can do, from the perspective of you are trying to unburden other people. So it's not selfish. It is quite the opposite. And it's not helpful when people think and say that it is. Lemon Drop says depression is the devil's handiwork. Only God can give us peace. If you are humble with your situation, prayer is the key. Well, Lemon Drop, again, I'm going to challenge you and say to you that, those of us who have faith and we have religion, that doesn't mean that that is going to save you in the end from depression. And I agree with the male caller who said, unless you have felt it, you don't actually know what it feels like. I haven't felt it. I've had everybody get sad and I've had moments of, but to say that I have suffered from depression, I don't know what that feels like. So I can't, and I would caution people about saying it's the devil's hand. No, it's actually a chemical imbalance in your body. It's like if you have breast cancer, I'm not going to say that that's the devil's handiwork, right? When you have physical ailments, you break an arm, we can fix that. We can get you to a doctor and fix that. Mental health struggles run the gamut, and they are much more serious to deal with. They're much more difficult to deal with. One of the most difficult ones I have heard through my own, basic understanding and reading is bipolarism, because sometimes the medication and getting the prescription right is very, very difficult. Getting access to mental health professionals has been challenging because there's a cost. Someone said earlier in the comment section, they don't want to talk their business. There's a lot of mental health professionals here who are not even Caymanians. They don't know you. They don't know your family. They're not into no sauce. They don't care about those things. They're here to help you. Reach out to them. All of the hospitals, as far as I know, have mental health professionals available. We live in the 21st century. The year is 2025. You can access people online that you can reach out to, folks who have no connection to Cayman whatsoever. And those people are also here to help and assist you. So reach out to them. In fact, one of the people that we are talking to about potentially coming on board with CMR TV, he lives in Tampa, Dr. Carlos. Dr. Carlos is a clinical psychologist. And so when I understand the Cayman population, and I know sometimes you guys don't want to talk to people that you might run into the grocery store or whatever, when I had my first conversation with Dr. Carlos, I said to him, this could be a very, very good situation in the sense that maybe, because he wants to do like a call-in style show, I said maybe people would be more likely to talk to you because you're not connected to Cayman in any way, shape, or form. So, and thank you for the person who just corrected me, because I keep saying the term committed suicide, and that is no longer the way to describe it. And I just learned this the other day, by the way, caller. So I should be correcting myself. But the correct way to say it is that the person died by suicide, because even saying committed suicide, that comes from when it was criminalized. So committing an act is like committing an offense. So in a lot of places, it used to be a criminal offense. And that's why that term, like you committed it, like you committed burglary, you committed, crime. And so we need to get away from even the terminology of saying it in that way. So the person has died by suicide. They have not committed suicide. So thank you, caller, very much for the correction. Good morning, caller.
Yes, Sandy, I'll be calling back. I just want to clarify something. It seems like it was people are jumping, and when I said about it's a selfish act, and I tried to correct in the moment, agreeing with you, saying at the moment we're not
We're not necessarily thinking. We're not thinking, period, to be quite honest. And that's even when we're thinking about family, friends, so on and so forth. Our minds are all over the place. The reason I can say what I can say, Sandy, is with conviction and not being embarrassed. I've attempted 5 times in my life. I was 15 the first time, 22 the The first 4 times I attempted, I was crying out for help. That's all I was doing, was crying out for help. I didn't want to die. The pain was so intense that I couldn't deal with the pain anymore. The 5th time, yes, I wanted to end it. And thank God I was found in time. I was told 5 to 10 minutes later I would have been dead. And I am so thankful I was found. That was many, many, many years ago. I would never, ever do anything to harm myself to this day. Never. But at the time, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking about, oh my God, if I do this, I'm selfish. No, it was after I sought out the help. I've been in and out of therapy since I was 13 years old, battling with depression. It's not something that is easy to deal with. There's sometimes to force yourself to get up out of bed, sometimes just to open up a curtain, sometimes to just look outside. There's times we want to shut out the world. We want to shut out the noise. It gets to a point where it's too much. It was after I learned, after I found what I was doing, and I will say again, after it was selfish. It would have been a selfish act on my part to have taken my life. In the moment, no. But after the fact, I can say yes. Yes. But your mind has to get right first or get better. I don't think somebody who suffers depression ever gets 100% because it's a battle. And until people, like I said, understand it, don't judge me or judge anybody else out there. You have no right to judge if you've never battled depression or severe depression or any kind of depression. It's not a sickness. I don't call it a sickness. I don't call it, I don't put a title over my head. I function quite well. And like I said, being an empath, it's a curse and a blessing. Because you get to feel what other people feel. You get to understand what other people understand. I wouldn't my life. I would not change a thing about my life because I am a more of an understanding individual. I know what sexual abuse is. I know what mental abuse is. I know what physical abuse is. I know what alcoholic abuse is. I know what drug addiction is. Been there, done all that. Fought for years and years and years to be the man I am today. So don't one person out there judge me for saying what I say, because I know who I am today, and I battled, and I fought, and I've won. Do I still battle depression? Yes, I do. But I'm not ashamed of it. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, the best thing we can do is seek out help. Ask somebody for a hug. If you need to fall back on somebody, make sure there's somebody standing behind you that's strong enough to catch you. And to know you're okay. You are loved. You're a good person. And these people that are out here that are struggling, yes, it's a struggle, and not everybody knows their struggle. We hide behind our smile. We hide behind our outgoing personalities. We hide behind so much because we want to be more. We're not sick. We're not sick. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not shameful. And no one should be.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you. And honestly, I'm sorry, I think a few more people are trying to call in there. We missed your call. But let me be very clear, I know mental health professionals for sure try to give us useful terms. Like I said, it's no longer committed suicide, it's died by suicide. A lot of us don't know these things. They try to get away from calling it a selfish act. This gentleman is saying, and I obviously had no idea that he has dealt with some of these things. And, I do speak to him off air, and you still don't know the extent of their story, of their life, but as someone, he explained a little bit more what he meant in the context of what he was saying. So, those who know it, I'm going to return this caller. Those who know it, and if you don't know it, then, even mental health professionals, a lot of them have never been on the brink. How many of them can say that they've tried to commit suicide 5 times, even with all of their training? So I think today, what we do is we simply listen with an open ear, and we hear you, caller. We hear you. Okay. And trust me when I tell you.
You have reached the voicemail box.
Okay, do call us back, caller, if you'd like to. There are a lot of people are listening this morning. We've got just about 900 people here just on social media alone, and I'm sure countless others listening. So Rennie says a call-in talk show can work, especially with someone from overseas. If done at night, 7, 8 p.m. can be successful. And I was thinking too, a night program would probably be really, really good. And I think he would take calls about all sorts of stuff, relationship issues, like everything. So I'm hoping that we can get him on board. Denise makes a very interesting point. She says, therefore, life insurance companies needs to pay because it's an illness of the brain. It's so interesting that we still, very, very interesting. I wonder if any legislators are listening this morning. We have made some headway. We've decriminalized it, but you're right. Life insurance companies use this out, and it really came from the Great Depression, the financial depression back in the help me out with the year, 1920s? Or was it the 30s? But the Great Depression caused a lot of people to take their own lives, right? To die by suicide. And so the insurance companies from then put this, and now it's archaic when you think about it, but they put this policy in place where anyone who died by suicide, the family members could not collect on their insurance policies. But have we not gotten past that archaic view now of someone dying by suicide? Denise, I got to tell you the truth. I hadn't even thought about it until you made that comment. Very, very interesting. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Morning, there.
I think society places a lot of stress on people, yes. and then they turn around and say you need to be tough. Men don't cry. That's nonsense. You raised the Great Depression, but in 2008 there was a massive financial shock to the world. It caused a lot of people to commit suicide as well. To lose a lot, put up people under tremendous pressure. In fact, a lot of the stresses that we face today is as a result of that 2008 crash. That because it wasn't actually really addressed, and then it got compounded in 2020 with the lockdown, where the world is suffering financially from being put in that position. And as I read what the government is doing, and they're using nice sounding language like resilience and stuff, and preparing for the FATF, and I think about the things that people say to me, like, you have to comply with all sorts of regulations to get your money into the bank. But why is it such a challenge if you want to take your money out of the bank? I mean, didn't you already tell the bank where you got the money from? But really and truly, what's happening in the world is there's a group of people who wish to control the world economically, and everything that people do. Our rights are being eroded. Right to privacy. Think about that for a second. The right to privacy protects you from government, but government demands that they know everything about you. They just promise not to tell anyone else. That's all weird stuff. And I think as a society we need to think about what kind of pressure we place on politicians to do certain things. And I think politicians need to think about the consequences of their actions, because some people are not going to call Morrow Road and say, I think that what the government is doing is wrong. They'll just quietly go off and just disappear into the darkness. And I think we really, especially how we have a new government, we really need to think about what burdens we place on other people. Think about see how they're wanting to put term limits on employees in government now that existed in the private sector for quite a while now. When you apply something to one group of people but not to another, that's kind of like what the Pharisees used to do. They would require you to submit to all of these things if you wanted to be considered righteous. But they themselves didn't bear that same burden. And this is why this idea that the rule of law should apply to everyone is so important. Because if some people are above the law and others are not, some people won't appreciate how others are feeling it. Like the struggle, the pain, the disadvantage, the whatever. They're just not going to appreciate, well, why are you struggling with this like this? Because they don't have to meet those requirements. And I think we need to be careful the pressure we place on people, because the consequences might be deadly.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. A few of our callers have mentioned, let me just put this up. One person says, good morning. Suicide is excluded for the first 2 years of life insurance. After that, if you commit suicide, it is paid to the beneficiary. So some changes. This other person says they have a clause now in life insurance that if you die by suicide within the first 2 years of having the policy, they won't pay. So I guess some headway to protect their interests. I guess the rationale is they don't want people taking out policies just before taking their own lives. And I didn't know that had changed. So thank you to our listeners who were aware of that. This person says, good morning, Miss Sandra. Thanks for teaching us along the way about suicide, because now you're saying it's not committed, it is die by. I wonder if insurance companies would change the strategy also, because sometimes it is hard in family and they cannot collect anything to help towards their loved ones, just a thought. And then they said, Miss Sandra, I sent mine ahead of Denise. We were thinking along the same lines. What a coincidence. So lots of conversations being had this morning. This person says, feel the same way sometimes with bad thoughts in my name, hearing voices telling me I'm not good, but I must leave this life. I'm seeking help because I know someone who is taking depression meds and feel worse. I'm looking for a job that I can't find anywhere. My police record is clean. I have a copy. So lots of people, again, are going through things and certainly feeling depressed for different reasons. This person says, as someone that spent my entire life dealing with trauma and people judging, I think the below quote from David Foster Wallace sums up how ignorant people can be around the issue from depression, et cetera, perfectly. I think it would be good to read this out to make people realize how it actually feels. And the quote says, This so-called psychotically depressed person who tries to kill themselves doesn't do so out of, quote, hopelessness or any abstract conviction that life's assets and debits do not square. And surely not because death seems suddenly appealing. The person in whom its invisible agony reaches a certain unendurable level will kill herself the same way a trapped person will eventually jump from the window of a burning high-rise. Make no mistake about people who leap from burning windows. Their terror of falling from a great height is still just as great as it would be for you or me standing speculatively at the same window, just checking out the view, i.e., the fear of falling remains a constant. The variable here is the other terror, the fire's flames. When the flames get close enough, falling to death becomes the slightly less terrible of two terrors. It's not desiring the fall, it's terror of the flames. And yet nobody down on the sidewalk looking up and yelling, "Don't," and "hang on," can understand the jump. Not really. You have to have personally been trapped and felt flames to really understand a terror way beyond falling. Wow. That's powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. Susan, morning. Good morning to Miss Marva Morant. Wow, that's a very deep quote. Gabby continues to say it's selfish. Gabby, I'm really hoping that you can listen with an open ear this morning and consider the alternative. Okay. Thank you so much. Paying attention to the comment section, says Raymond. Enough know that it is a regular thing. Sorry, my apologies. I skipped a bit there. Pay attention to the comment section. Enough dudes just struggle in silence. Y'all would never know that it's a regular thing. Imagine growing up thinking, oh, that's normal. As a man, ain't no one coming to help. Y'all don't know. And most would never not know because it would make you look at them differently. Enough smiles, and he puts a little mask emojis, but reality. Miss Faith and Hope, thank you so much. She's made a few comments. She said, my name changed, Faith and Hope, is from my personal experience. It's not easy to walk through. Sometimes you don't want to bathe, eat, or even see light. You just want to sit alone in a room without sound. It's snap and moment sometimes caused by hurt. Hugs to you, caller. She goes on to say, my apologies, 1 second here. It's a cover that is on daily, a makeup and clothes, a half smile, so no one sees and knows. But those that are very close can peek around. If they just pay attention, it's hard to spot because it's hidden very well, but listen and look ×2. Don't brush it off. Like the investigators would say, it could be something. Helody, good morning, says, good morning, Miss Sandra. I really thank God for you and this platform. My God, enough blessings. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, K-Man.
Good morning, dear.
I'm in shock, but um, I am one who suffers from depression,
Mm.
and it is not an easy road.
Mm-hmm.
It tears you apart sometimes. Where yes, you just want to be alone.
Mm.
I've had many traumas in my life, and there are times, even now, honestly, to tell people, where you do feel like there is nothing to live for, where you hide from people. I still do that. You learn to deal with it somehow, but counseling can only go so far. Medication only goes so far.
Mm-hmm.
And you, it, I don't know how to explain it to you. I will say this, many years ago when I was a teenager, I had just left school, graduated, and I was working. I was coming out as I had come out as gay. And it was hard. People were mean in those days in Cayman. You couldn't walk on the street without being mean called. I hid. I still hide today. But I do a different hiding. I don't have a lot of friends. If I have 3 friends in my life, you're very lucky. I don't share a lot with people, but I will say this: depression is not easy. It is a terrible, terrible thing, because some days you wake up and you look at food and you just say no. You look outside and you hear a noise and you go, oh, not today. I spend most of my time alone. When I tell you alone, I talk to God a lot. I go to the beach a lot. There is so much quiet in my life because of having so much trauma, so many things in life that you have had to deal with. I lost my mom at a very early age, and that was my rock. And I totally shut myself down. I lost my mom when I was 12 and a half, and I was a tick to a cow, as I was to my mother. Where she went, you saw me. And, my mother's death, Sandra, up till this day, not one family member from either side have sat down with me and have talked about it. We didn't talk about it.
Wow.
We have never talked about it, Sandra.
Oh my God.
It was something I have had to learn through life. And people look at me and they say, I don't like going to funerals, and I have had to push myself through the years to go to a few funerals of persons that I was very close to. And it's very hard. I don't do it anymore because it tears me up inside and I shut down. I have dealt with my mother's death in my way. Counseling didn't help me. I had to do it on my own. And it's hard when you are a 12-and-a-half-year-old child and you have 2 sides of a family that had 10 or 11 siblings. And no one came to me as a child and said, are you okay? Do you want to talk about your mom's death? It was never talked about.
My goodness.
And I view death as the final part of life. So I go about my life daily, and there are days where I disappear. I will tell someone where I'm going so that they know where I'm going and they can call me. I'm a person, I keep my phone on silent. I don't want to hear my phone ring. And no one knows why, but I'll tell. I know some people know my voice and they know me. And, I will say this today. My phone is kept on silent because I don't want to hear a phone ring. It goes all the way back to my childhood when my mom died. That's how traumatic a telephone ring is for me. I don't want to hear it. I will answer people back. Yes, the phone rings and sometimes it startles me, but I keep it on silent because it brings memories back that I have long dealt with stuff like that I don't want to deal with that again. And my mother's death, I dealt in my own way. We weren't allowed, the decision was made, we could not go, two youngest children did not go to my mother's funeral. And, my dad passed some months ago. And that was very hard on me. It's still very hard on me. Because life after my mother died, a lot of it I have blocked out. And I have to be honest, I do not remember Christmases. I don't remember birthdays after my mom passed away. And it's because I have chosen to block all of that out. Because I wondered why. I was so close to my mother. But depression is not an easy road. You can come off of your medicine for about 3 days with a lot of people. I know with me, if I don't take my medicine for 3 days, Sandra, you see a total different human being. You don't even want to hear me. You hear me? I get everything irritates me, to put it mildly. I mean everything, Sandra. The phone ringing, the TV, the cars, people talking. So I know that tablet is there to balance me out. But it's still the other part. Some days I wish I had the friendships I had years ago, but I have had to make a choice. I have had to block out a lot of people because my life has to be a certain way for me to survive. And I tell people I don't ask for privacy. I demand privacy in my life. It is because it's what keeps me sane. And I don't mix with a lot of people. I don't go out. I go out and I do my stuff and I do it alone. Because I feel better doing it that way. I can't explain it to people. And yeah, when I came out of being gay many years ago, when I started working, I tried to kill myself. I tried. I took, nerve tablet and a whole bottle of Tylenol. And when I realized my heart was pounding, I jumped out of my bed and I went to my roommate and I said, I need you to call your mother. I need to talk to your mother. And, I called someone else after that and they said, you're just going to feel weird and your heart's going to be beating. Just go lie down and go to bed. And I had to deal with all of that the next morning and it was not easy. I have had people put in my life to carry me from the day my mom died to present day today. And a few of those people are still around. They acted as a mother and father, some of them also. And I'm very grateful that those two people that I have are still there, that I can go and talk to them. Because when I feel down, I don't want to hear a counselor preaching to me. I really don't. So I take it to God and I go and I look for the few people that I know will guide me still in the right direction and say, yes, you're living with depression, but you're a good person still. So continue to be you. And, I can't explain it to people. When you get to a low, where I get some time. Yes, I'm taking my medicine for the day. But when you get so low sometimes, the only place that brings me to a peace where I call it rejoin reality and life back, is going and sit on the beach for an hour or two and just listen to the waves and just look around. And people take things for granted every day, but I do not. Just seeing a bird fly out of a nest and watch little birds peek their heads out, that brings joy to me, and that makes my life worth living for. You know, the other day I went to the beach and I was walking on the iron shore, and I saw a big old moray eel, a brown and white one. And I sat there for the longest while and I videoed that. And that put the biggest smile on my face, because things like that make me realize that harming myself, that is not the answer. Counseling, works. Medication, everything only works for one part. But having to be strong and then, having to deal with everything else life has to throw at you, it's not easy. When I go to the supermarket, I don't go to talk to people. I go to shop and I come out. I put my earbuds on. If someone says hi to me, I'll stop and say hi. But I live my life very alone, and one part of that is not having a pile of people in it. And it's weird to say to people, I don't do that anymore. I don't do this anymore. I don't go there anymore. I don't go over there no more. It's because my life has had to be some kind of structure from an early age that I didn't understand. I remember growing up and going, how am I going to get all this homework done this time of night? And I would be overwhelmed, Sandra. Some nights I would have 5 essays, and every essay had to have 5 paragraphs in it. And my other 2 sisters, one older than me and one younger, are sleeping. But what my mother taught me when I was young brought me through that period when she was no longer there. It allowed me to take care of 2 siblings, and it allowed us to live together, and it allowed us to grow up. But I go back again to say, as family, there wasn't any pile of family there. There were my siblings, and if it wasn't for my siblings before they left the house and moved on with their lives, I don't know if I would have graduated. With the 3 of us would have graduated high school. And I lived with depression up until I was almost 33, Sandra. And I had an episode. One of my friends came over, and my roommate was there. And my roommate didn't put the pizza box back where it should have went on the counter. And I went off on him, okay? And my friend looked at him and said, and my roommate said, don't say a word to him, just let him be. I went outside and I did as I always would do as a child I can remember. I slammed the door and I slid down on the side of the wall and I started to cry, and I took my 2 hands and I started to pound my head. And my roommate came out and said, stop. I said, I cannot do this anymore.
Oh my God.
I said, I need help. And he looked at me and he said, I said, tomorrow morning I'm going to my doctor. And they said, I said, no, you can't do this with me. This is something I have to do on my own. And I went, and let me tell you, the power of medicine and the power of a doctor. I'm going to call her name, and she is not, I'm sure, not going to bother that I call it. Dr. Yin. Dr. Yin has been a lifesaver for me, because she looked at me and she said, you're depressed. You suffer from depression. And I started to tell her how my life had been from when my mother died up till then. And it was misery. So a pill, a small little pill, it's been changed once in the last, I think, 20 years on me. The last couple of years, it was changed because I realized my life had gotten a lot more stressful with what was going on with me. And I went to my doctor and they changed it to something more up to date. I call a more recent one, depression medicine, and up the dosage by 5 milligrams. And the change was seeable. You could see what was happening. I totally calmed back down to the way I used to be because medication, Sandra, only works for a certain while. And then your body gets used to it and it has to be changed. And, you know, I grapple every day with the fact that I wonder if I'm ever going to harm myself again. But you know what I tell myself? I am too strong of a person to allow that voice in my head to deter me, to know that I have come this far, and no matter how many struggles I have had, I have come through it, and I'm still here. So I fight every day to live. It's not a joke. Depression is no joke. You know, and I know others that have it worse than me. I know people that have bipolar, and it is not a nice thing to have. You call them one day and they will talk to you, and the next day they are cussing you out. And they are calling you every name in the book. And I say to myself, that's not the person that I know. So I don't take that on with them. But I will tell you, living with depression, no. I have learned to live with it on my terms that work for me.
Yes.
But medicine is a part of that. Counseling was a part of that many years ago. Now I look to things that calm me down. And what calms me down is nature. I can go out and I can stay out half a day. And I will be out taking pictures. And listen, and just enjoying what there is to enjoy, because it keeps me sane. And I don't have like I said, I don't have no pilot. I have maybe one friend that I go to and I talk to that is a close friend. But I don't have those amount of people that I don't hang out with people anymore.
Yes.
Because that is where life has taken me. I have been a loner from day one. And having depression makes it even worse. You have to learn to tell yourself someday, no, you have to get out. You have to go.
Yes.
So
thank you.
I just hope that Andrel is found safe, because, you know, his voice alone was calming for me listening to him. And I pray that anyone that is going through depression, get the help you need, because you do need help. Counseling work, medication work. And you need some kind of little circle around you, that a few little people that you can call upon. When you feel a need that you need to, when I feel a need, I need to talk to my friend, I just pick up the phone and I say, I'm coming down. And they don't run me away, because they know what I deal with and they are accepting of it. But it's not a road I would wish anyone to travel on. You know, that is not a road. And I've been through a lot in life. But yeah, I suffer with depression daily. But harming myself, that doesn't fall in the picture anymore, because I choose to live with whatever God has given me in my life. I have dealt with it. But I want people to understand that depressed people are not crazy people. It is such a bad chemical imbalance that you have to educate yourself about it, because there are different kinds of depression. And when I tell you, if I choose to come off of my medicine for 3 days, just to see what it looks like, It's not a nice story. I did it some weeks ago, and it was not a nice story. I get angry. Everything irritates me, and I don't want to hear people talking about anything. So I said, wow, this is how powerful this little pill is. And it's very small. It's mirtazapine, and it's very small. But that's the honest truth. And if I did not have a doctor that listens, Sandra, I don't think I would be here today. Dr. Christian is my doctor at the HSA. And let me tell you, when I tell you that man is an angel on earth, Dr. Christian is so smart. And but one of the things that I think everyone likes and loves about Dr. Christian is that he is a listener. He's one doctor, but he is a good listener, and he understands where we come from, all of us. And every time I see him, I shake his hand and I say, thank you for all you do to keep me where I am. Because without his encouragement, I probably might have harmed myself over the years. But because I know I have people that care, that I can go. If I feel really bad sometimes, I just go to the health clinic in West Bay and I go look for one of the nurses that I know. And I will just say, I don't feel right today. I just need some assurance. And they don't run me away because they know what it is to suffer from depression every day. And I will tell you, that road is not an easy road.
Thank you, caller.
And thank you, Sandra.
Yes,
and
sir.
I pray anyone going through depression will seek the help, because there is help here that I didn't have when I realized what was happening.
Thank
I
you so
pray
much.
Andrel is found safe, and I'm praying for his family too, and his friends and his colleagues, and for the whole country. Thank you, Sandra. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Lots of people thanking that caller for his frankness. This person says, my heart breaks for you, caller. God bless you for sharing. That's Miss Carol. Miss Shella says, thank you, caller, for telling your story. And I hope that we can normalize the telling of stories more and more. And again, take away the stigma from speaking about it. Debbie says, thank you, caller, for sharing. Proud of you. You are loved. Siobhan Berry says that she can relate. I'm in the same boat, especially with my mom passing away. It's devastating. And still, my life was and is shattered. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you? And came on.
Not bad, dear. How are you?
I'm alive. And I'm listening to you this morning. And first of all, Miss Sandra, I just want to send a hug, the tightest hug to everybody out there listening that feel like because they're suffering with mental health, they can't get help or they can't make it. Sandra, we need education. Our people need to be educated. To take myself, apart from depression, I have other mental illnesses, that I'm afflicted with. Single mother of 3, Sandra. I've had my kids taken away before by DCFS because I've had mental breaks.
Right.
Don't give up. Don't give up. That's all I have to say to anybody that feel like they can't continue. Seek out the help. And you know where the education part comes back in, Sandra? I used to work for government, I was there 8 years. I held my job as hard as I can. And I got medical boarded from my job. You hear that? Why? Because they say I'm too sick to complete my job. The pension they were supposed to pay me, do you know my government claims, Sandra, that because I wasn't at work without permission, all of those days that they paid me for, they took it back out of my pension, $10,000. And Dr. McGill, bless her if she's listening or not, sent them a letter. This female has certain things, sometimes daily life exacerbates. No. So with mental illness, I can understand with the previous caller before me why he say he likes to be by himself. I'm the same way, Sandra. To avoid the judgment, to avoid the stigmatism that come with it. And you know something else? Here, a lot of people believe that if you know walk in Georgetown Street half naked, or if you know skinning out in front of the government building, nothing wrong with you. Worse, Sandra, if you can speak for yourself, like me, anybody will hear me talk or write a letter would swear, but nothing wrong with her. Nothing wrong with her.
Yes.
Twice, Sandra, you hear me? Twice. I have tried to remove myself from my children's lives because I feel they would have been better off without me.
Wow.
It's not easy. And then when you try to look for help here, I don't want nobody to feel anyway when I say this, but I don't want any counsel or any therapist that is from Cayman. And I stick by that because I've learned the hard that Cayman is too small. In West Bay, there's a song by Barefoot Man. You catch a cold in West Bay, by the time it reach East End, you got full-blown AIDS. So yes, while helping kids and everything is good, adults need help too.
Yes.
You have parents like us that are struggling.
Yes.
Right now, my kids, I am fighting to try and get them some cynical for them to see a therapist. Very good kids, Sandra, very bright. They can cook, wash, and clean better than my granny. Right? But because they're doing good in school, and my daughter not selling or running away, and she not pregnant at 15, they're not supposed to get no social service help or no therapy. Nobody not supposed to check on them.
Oh God.
You understand what I mean? So we need that. There should be something in place that once government know this particular household has mental health issues, check on those children.
Exactly.
Check on them. Don't wait till the baby go do something extravagant, or don't wait until the parent do something to the kids. God forbid.
Yes.
But the stability sometimes is not there, Sandra. Many days on my way to the food bank to try and get food for the kids, I feel like just running off the road.
Oh my God.
Because as a mother, you have to be struggling.
Yes.
You try to find a job. Oh, they're gonna say it's not what you call it when they not being fair with you.
Discrimination.
Yes, and that is completely false. We are so discriminated against, Sandra, because even though I'm medical boarded, I can't sit here and depend on any of you. But every job that I apply for, when I'm truthful and I tell them why I don't work with the government anymore, they don't call me back. They don't call me back.
Wow.
I'm heading to an appointment to Dr. McGill right now, Sandra, because medication need to change. And I hear the other little guy talking about family sometimes. Sometimes family is the worst on this island. They take it, throw it on your face and make you feel bad. I didn't ask to be this way. We don't ask to be this way, Sandra. It's not enjoyable.
Yes.
I just think our government, they're building that place down in East there. What's the sense of building place to put people that need mental health when they don't have people that are educated to help us? What's the sense? There's no sense in it. Everybody that's listening, whatever you're struggling with, if you can handle it, find some help. And it's easy for us to say, find help, because in all honesty, on this island, it's hard to find comfortable help, I should say. But
Caller,
don't give up.
let me ask you, first of all, thank you so much for calling. And
Yes, no.
I hear you. I really hear you. And I think it took a lot, obviously, for you to pick up the phone and call this morning. As a person who is, I guess, driven towards solutions, tell me what we can do to help you. How can we help you? I know we need policy changes. We need our legislators to focus more on access. There's some bigger issues that you've highlighted here, but in this moment now, today, if you had one wish of how this community could galvanize and help you in any way whatsoever, whether it's, taking your kids out to the movies to give you a break sometimes, making sure that you've got food at your place, helping you find a job, tell us how we can help you.
I don't even know how to answer that question. I'd be lying if I told you. I guess right now, as long as you have some sort of emotion in your heart for me, that's enough. Just pray for us, all of us.
How old are the kids? Because I think, I am.
Oh, they're teenagers.
They're teenagers now.
Yes, Mom, and I'm so proud of them.
Yes.
My daughter is 14.
Yes.
She's the baby, and my two boys are 15 and 16.
Okay.
And they're not perfect, but to me, from what we've been through, Sandra, they are the stars that sit above the moon to me. So,
well, I think a lot of people, I'm going to take down your number because I think a lot of people are moved to help you, and we have to get back to this concept of, as a community, helping each other, right?
Yes.
So I want you today to send me your resume. Let me see what we can do on the job front. Maybe some days we can do stuff with the kids. Like, 1 week I might be able to take them out and, make them enjoy some activities, give you a little bit of a break.
You know what? Miss Sandra, not to cut you off, I just don't want to forget this point. Don't take me wrong that we've been completely abandoned by our island community. Listen, we have some lovely people here that help my kids. For example, my daughter, she's in one of the pageant academies here, and the lady that directs it, let me tell you, she works so hard for these girls to build their confidence, to give them a safe place, somewhere straight to look other than being on the street. My second son, upcoming track star. The Carissa team has their eyes on him, and none of them, Miss Sandra, none of their report cards have C's or D's on them. When I was still able to hold a job, and my kids could tell you, 5 o'clock when I ring out a government bill, government work, I put on my part-time job shirt, food delivery. And I pick my kids up, Sandra, and me and my children driving around doing that second job till after hours of the night. So sometimes, and then, I don't know, I guess what me, myself, is just to feel happy, have something to feel happy and proud about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, obviously, I think despite everything, you're obviously very happy and proud
Yes,
about where
I
your
am.
children are, and I think that's a testament to also you as a mother.
Yes, Mom.
Because are you doing this by yourself? Do you have a significant other who's there with you, or
No,
you're doing
Mom.
it?
No, Mom. I raised these children by myself. 2 times they had to get taken from me by DCFS and sent to their daddy because I had a mental break. I couldn't figure out where we were going to live or what we were going to eat or and I working at this time.
Right.
I was working at this time.
Yes.
Miss Sandra, we got evicted from a nice little apartment we were living on in Gatoria Street. You know why? Because you were paying late. Do you know my government didn't help us find somewhere to go? They took my children from me, Sandra, and they told me my government would not allow my children to sleep in the car with me. So me as a mother, no, they had to go to the Francis boarding. Why? Only not because I was torturing them or abusing them in any way, but because my government thought it was better to take them from me and make me sleep in my car. So I think what we just need on this island is recognition, that the people need help and that there are people like me that suffer with stuff like depression and bipolar and borderline. Those, they're trying. You have some of us that trying. That's all. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. And for everybody else, just be strong and live for your children. My children don't be struggling like me when they get older. That's all I want. So, but thank you so much for listening to me. I gotta go now.
Yes. Well, good luck with your appointment today. And like I said, I'm going to reach out to you because I know there are people who want to assist in any way that they can. So sometimes it's just time, that people need, and we can give of time. We can find ways. So I will definitely reach out to you. Okay.
Well, bless you and bless everybody else. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, folks. I'm going to read a few more comments. Thank you guys so much. I didn't even realize the time we're off radio, but we're going to continue this conversation. I'm going to read this one that has me a little bit confused because I'm not sure that I understand. This person says, you alone going to be at your funeral, you need to seek Jesus. Prayer can cut depression, heal everything. I don't want to misinterpret this. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure how to take this, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how to take this. But there you go. This person says that they didn't sleep last night. They see him every day, taking out the trash in the neighborhood. There are 3 main components of mental health: bio, physio, psycho, and social. Bio would be your medication. Psycho would be your psychiatric counselors, etc. And social is your support system. Mental health is so complex, but at the very least, these 3 things must work together. I'm so glad that you're talking about this. For years, I suffered from depression and anxiety, and I've had many dark days. I finally had to break my own mental stigma and go get help. Now I do take medication, and they name the lorazepam there that they're taking. And not only lack of insurance, but it's also the ability to actually have the mental strength and put aside the anxiety to even talk about it. Negative mental health stigma is real in Cayman. Another person shares, morning. I'm the same way. I have dreams too. I had dreams last night, but it wasn't good. Oh, my apologies. That's one that I actually was not going to share. My apologies. Okay. Let me just. Someone's saying, all right, miss, we don't need these long stories this morning. Happy they're alive. Wish them well. Kimanians. I am going to beg you to find your sensitivity gene. This might not be the conversation for you this morning. That's fine. Like I said, not every single day is going to be a show that you're interested in. I mean, I would hope that this would be a show that everyone would care about this morning. But if you don't, just don't listen. I want to give people time this morning. If they felt like calling in and saying as much as they wanted to say, this would be the day to have a long story. This is the day that we need to show people compassion, that we need to let people know that even if you don't have anyone else to talk to, gosh, every once in a while, you can call Sandy. There's not going to be any pressures to get off the phone. And you take your time telling your story and expressing yourself. So many people, that gentleman who called, so many people have sat here and judged him, don't know who he is, don't know his story. And, oh yeah, he called, complain about the police again and blah, blah, blah. This morning, you got more of an insight into who he is. And perhaps that caused you to reflect and to say to yourself, this is why I need to be less judgmental. So if you're tired of long stories about depression and mental health and wellness and people's struggles, today is not the show for you. That's fine. I'm not going to cuss you out. If it's not for you, it's not for you. What I can tell you is that for the majority of the show today, we have had right here on this program, right now we have, let me tell you how many people are listening. 858 people. So at least 858 people right now care about this conversation. If you're not one of the 858, that's fine. Just relax yourself. Go and keep working or whatever else floats your boat. Okay? I don't need the negativity today. Keep it to yourself. Simple. Jim says that comment reads heartless. It does. And I guess being heartless is also a choice that you can make and that you have. But sometimes just keep it to yourself. Carla wants to know if that is a Caymanian. Yes, it is one of us. Demonstrating a moment of no compassion whatsoever. My people, many days y'all make my little heart break. Let's continue with the positivity. This person said, when her father died, no one asked me if I was okay. I found dad dead, gave him CPR, and broke his ribs in the process. Took years of counseling. 2 years on, they were still struggling. Now it's 7, 8 years later. More like 6 years, I think. Callers who've called in today, commentators who have demonstrated how incredibly brave you are. I love, let's go back to Kathy. Says that was so brave of the caller to share her difficult walk. Look, this exists in our country because of social media and it affects all, and especially the younger generation. We need to pray and support them in whatever way we can. show love. There is bravery. There's positives and negatives about social media because in days gone by, we couldn't sit down and reach 10,000 people a day with a message plus, but now we can. So there's a lot of positive with social media. Younger children should not be on social media, not at all. And that's why as parents, you need to monitor your children and you need to really focus on the things that are impacting their mental health. And I can tell you, without a doubt, screen time and social media are the two biggest factors. Okay? So parents, be aware of what you need to limit when it comes to your children. Candy, Ms. Sandra, God bless you for this show today. It was needed. I wish it can continue. We will continue these conversations. This is not something that is going to be resolved in a day. Like I said, this has to become part of our ongoing narrative. This person says, thank you for educating your audience in clinical depression. Robin Williams had fame, fortune, adoration, and a loving family. But for a long time, he did not believe he belonged in this world and he was playing a role, but deep down was not happy here. And he made the decision to finally leave. Nothing selfish about it. He could no longer live in this world. And you see, so many times we don't even know what people are going through. We don't ask the questions. What I can tell you is Robin Williams was having marital problems. He was having family problems. He was having financial problems, all sorts of stuff, but we don't know because he wasn't sharing it publicly. So just because you don't know something doesn't mean it's not happening. Another person says, I just want to say that for many men, the act of opening up about their feelings can feel like stepping into a vulnerable space. And often they choose not to. What they truly seek is the recognition and appreciation from those they're supporting and carrying burdens for. When someone acknowledges their efforts, it can spark a powerful motivation within them, a deep sense of purpose that fuels their desire to keep moving forward despite the weight they might be bearing. Just knowing that their struggles are seen and valued make all the difference. And let me also say this again, men, you don't have to carry that burden alone. Yes, there are times that you are the supporter of the family, you're the breadwinner, but there are women who can be breadwinners too, who are equally capable, professionals in their own right, intelligent in their own right? And speak to your significant others, speak to your spouses if you need a break, if you need time. Just let them know. And yes, to someone's point, Robin Williams also had other things that were wrong with him that, again, we don't always know. Look at the faces. We need to have a campaign, the faces of depression, the faces of bipolarism. Look at this beautiful woman standing before you here, right? Chelsea Chris, I remember when I heard about her passing a few years ago, beauty queen, an attorney, TV star. A real reminder that suicide is on the increase, especially since COVID. There's a troubling trend, uptick in mental health struggles. We see the professionals saying here, we see it. Our services are more in use. People are calling out. There's more attempts at suicide. Women in our communities, Caribbean people, men in our communities, Black, white, Asian, whatever. Speak up. What a beautiful person. 2017 Miss North Carolina USA pageant winner and winner of the 2019 Miss USA pageant. High school track star, an attorney with an MBA, Emmy-nominated correspondent for the TV program Extra. So in 2022, when her death by suicide in Manhattan was announced, there were lots of people who were in a state of disbelief. They were completely shocked. Not her. She jumped her own death. You look from the outside and you say, she has everything going for her. And yet there were signs and there were struggles. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. What a morning, huh? It's first of all, I think it's good of you to dedicate time to this, and I really have been inspired. I wasn't going to call. I did send in a message to support other people what they were saying, but I just thought in the end, let me call in and express a few views. Now, I don't know Andrel Harris personally, but I've communicated with him a little bit, and I always remember how he's so deliberate when he talks. Like if he's asking a question, he's always very structured. And I understand that he actually finished his law degree and was on the way to getting other qualifications, and has got a daughter and so on. And you can imagine how much, he and the family would have invested in that. And we don't know what happened. Maybe some people have got suspicions, but at the moment, all we do is wait. But I thought it's a good time that you mentioned something about life policies and how generally they don't cover mental health. And somebody called in or sent a message to say, well, some of them, I would imagine it's not all of them, some of them do have a condition, to say, okay, so long as it doesn't happen in the first 2 years, after that we can pay out. Those are issues which even governments, like another caller was saying, should look into. They should be able to look into that and say, is there something that the law can do to, I'll use the term persuade insurance companies to do certain things. As you know, in law, there are sometimes legislation will tell you, for example, that you can't have a contract which prohibits ABC. Now, you don't want to do that too much, okay? You want the market to operate freely. But there are some times when the law comes in and says, for example, even if you are a private employer, you can't fire somebody for their private religious beliefs. Now, that is the same attitude I think we need in relation to things like mental health. I mean, it's very interesting, in Canada for a long time, like in many places, they didn't recognize alcoholism as a disease. So if you were an alcoholic and therefore you can't hold down a job and you sought welfare assistance, they will tell you, no, you are just being irresponsible, okay? Government can't help people who are just being irresponsible because they only recognized alcoholism if it was mixed in with some other disorder like bipolar disorder or one of those psychological disorders. That's when they recognized it. But there was a famous case which went all the way to the Supreme Court and then back. Finally, the courts recognized that alcoholism is actually a disease. And that there are people who are, this one was known for some time, there are people who are born alcoholic. That's the way they are built. That's why you find among musicians, some musicians have been doing drugs for ages. They've never gone to rehab. Why? Because their bodies are built that way. Others will take a drug a little bit and then they'll get frustrated. So at a time like this, I think governments should look at this issue and see if there's some legislation that can be passed to be able to support the efforts that are made by places like Children and Family Services and other places who try to get better recognition for these things. So all I will say this morning as prayers to Andrel and his family. I mean, we always say at a time like this, we hope it turns out well. We pray for a miracle, and I guess that's all that we can say for now because we don't know anything for sure. And but thanks very much for carrying this message. I just thought that I should chime in for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. A few more comments, folks. This person says, Sandy, trust me, I love the social shows, but these shows that offer Lifeline are my favorite, even though my box of tissues are empty now. Keep up what you do. God sent you to help, and you understand the assignment. And they said, but don't forget that Robin had depression long before his fame and family issues. I read his biography. His laughter hid his agony. And this is what we're talking about, the happy depression, right? There are people who seek out roles in which they are smiling, they're on TV, they're on camera, they appear happy. And yet there's something much deeper going on. Another listener to the program reminded us that, let me just find these comments, that yes, Robin Williams also had LBD, and that along with depression is a terrible combination. Indeed. This person says, Miss Sandy, good day. I don't always agree with everything on the show each day, laughing out loud, but one thing I know is that all you do is because your heart is so big. Your empathy and sympathy meter is beyond what most can comprehend, so they will tell you to move on. Forgive them, for they know not what they say or do. Stay blessed, and God bless you for being a vehicle to allowing our Caymanians, our hurting Caymanians, to be able to express their pain. You are a blessing to us all. Thank you very much for that vote of confidence. Let me just see. This one says, okay, sorry. Right. Okay. So I want to share something with you guys that I thought you might find interesting. You know how you have these, what you call them? Like you hear about them all the time, like, oh, the happiest places in the world to live. And we all aspire like, ooh, I want to go live there because that's the happiest place in the world. The European countries, Finland and Denmark. Oh, they've got education right. They're the happiest place in the world. There is something that is very, very interesting. So they do this World Happiness Report. It's an annual publication by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. And in it, it does a ranking of countries by a quote unquote happiness score, okay? The score is based on the average person's answer, or the average answer to the question. Please imagine a ladder with steps numbered from 0 at the bottom and 10 at the top. The top of the ladder represents the best possible life for you, and the bottom of the ladder represents the worst possible life for you. On which step of the ladder would you say you personally feel that you stand at this time? That's the question that they use to gauge and put together this world's happiest place report. Interesting. Well, there are people who have studied these countries, again, Denmark, Finland, and so on, and asked the question, are they really happier? Because this World Happiness Report says that they are. Then they started to look at countries like Latin America. They have a lot of issues, gang violence, poverty, all these things. They're scoring low. So on deeper analysis, you would think that suicide would be considered a decent metric to measure unhappiness. In other words, if a country has a high suicide rate, well, gosh, most of their people must be unhappy, and that's why they're committing suicide. Would you be interested to know that's actually quite the opposite? I found this fascinating and interesting. There seems to be a strong correlation between the score given in the World Happiness Report and suicide rates with the happiest countries. Listen to this, folks. The happiest countries on average having a suicide rate of over twice as much as the least happy countries. Did y'all hear that? That seems counterintuitive. Let me say it again. People ranked happiest countries having a suicide rate of over twice as much as the least happy countries. How is that even possible? When it was researched, it was like, maybe there's something wrong here. Are there unreliable suicide statistics? Let's look at some data. Best available data. Dropped out the small countries because maybe their statistics are not reliable. And yet the correlation remained. Pretty wild. So many unhappy countries actually have a lower number of suicides, and many happy countries have a high number. Finland, for example, has a suicide rate of 15.9. A country that has been ranked the happiest country for 2 years in a row is ranked near the top, even when it did not achieve first place. Peru, which ranked 63rd happiest in the 2016 report, had a suicide rate of 4.9. That is under a third of Finland's suicide rate. Listen to this. Interesting to note. The staggeringly low suicide rate of 1.9, according to World Bank data for Syria for 2016, a country that has been in civil war for years. Austria has a suicide rate of 15.6, and the United States of 15.3. Then they looked at countries, compared GDP per capita and suicide rates. There is a correlation between GDP per capita and suicide. Poorest countries. Countries that almost no one in the Western world want to live in or raise their children in tend to have lower rates of suicide. So it begs the question of what really would be causing that. I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to tell you what some theories are about what's causing it, because I want just that bit of it to sink in, because that has got to, it blew my mind, and I think it's probably blowing a lot of other people's minds as well. Not as simple as that, Marshall. So Marshall says maybe they're happy killing themselves. No, well, not really. Let's understand, folks, that this is a battle, like a real battle that people have to deal with every single day. So thank you so much. It took a certain degree of bravery, because some of you may have even recognized people's voices this morning. Thank you, Eunice's recommending please take kids to Alex's place to get therapy. It's completely free and so useful. And I must tell you that there's organizations here that work with children or work with mental health, and Alex Panton Foundation has done amazing things. Out of their pain as a family, Addie and the Kelly family, they have managed to educate themselves and then extend that education to the rest of us as well. Stay Focused says that the focus on mental health illness needs to be addressed every day, not just once a year. And we were just, of course, celebrating mental health awareness week, ran from May the 12th through the 18th, and Mental Health Awareness Month. Whatever you do to help your children, and as parents, you know, we're tasked with trying to help them navigate life. I want to encourage you to educate yourselves. We don't have all of the answers, but there's so many wonderful resources out there. And I want to share some of those resources with you this morning, but let's go ahead and take a call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, Miss Brenda.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, and please forgive me, but I did tune in late, and I don't know if I'm understanding or hearing the name correctly. I think I caught Harris at one time and Andrel another time. I just wanted to ask if it is the person I'm thinking about. I know him very well, and I just wanted to ask if it is. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the full name. Just I mean, if the name was called on the show, you can tell me that was the name called on the show.
Yeah. So just to be clear, and those of you who may have joined the program early, or my apologies, late, Andrel Harris is missing. So he's missing, and we obviously are remaining hopeful that he's just taken some personal time for himself, and that he's okay. And so all we can definitively say about his whereabouts at this time is that he is missing.
Okay, my heart fell there because I do know Andrel very well, and I mean, without going into any of the details, there was a time that he and I had spoken in depth because he was experiencing, you know, some health issues, and I actually introduced him to a doctor in that field, and I mean, it wasn't anything mental. And you know, he liked the doctor. The doctor got him all sorted out, told him what was causing it, and so on. You know, so and I mean, he was fine after that because I always checked in with him just to see how he was doing, and he was fine, and you know, working and being his usual nice self. So I have to say, I'm really saddened now to hear this. And was that his mom that was speaking to you a while ago?
I don't think so.
Okay, okay. No, because I caught a call with a lady who was very emotional speaking to you. So I was, you know, as I said, I tuned in late. So I didn't know if that was his mother that had called. But anyway, how long has he been missing?
From yesterday is what day is today? Today's Thursday. So yesterday being Wednesday, from Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, and he was working over there at Compass now, right?
Yes. So he was at government, had gone back to Compass TV.
The Compass, okay. Oh, does anyone know where on island? I mean, what district in the island that he was residing in?
So my sources revealed that he was last seen in the Pedro Castle area. So we did post something last night to say that you know, he was missing, and the police have actually issued a statement as well. And so he was seen in the Pedro Castle area, walking in that area. So I think they had picked him up on like CCTV footage and stuff like that.
Okay, I asked that question because and I'm glad it's in the area, in the same district that I live in, because what I would be happy to do, if anyone is willing to join me, we could get a group together and we could find out and start looking around for him. Because, you know, I don't know what the problem is. I don't want anyone to misunderstand me. If it is a mental issue, sometimes these people are found in the strangest places, you know. They just sort of go off, they sit on that tree, or you know, they go to a house that is familiar to them, they'll stay in that yard or something. So if it's not too late, maybe he can be found wherever he is. So I would be more than happy, to organize a group of us that could go out and look for him. And if, people don't know what he looks like, perhaps get some pictures printed that everyone has a picture that they know who it is they're looking for.
Yes, ma'am.
If anyone is interested, Sandra, they can do it through you. You can let me know.
Yes. I mean, I did ask the police if they wanted people to go out and search parties, but I haven't gotten a response on that as yet. So, I mean, we don't want to do anything that's going to be unhelpful to them because obviously they're conducting searches, but a lot of times that type of community search has proven to be very helpful.
We whatever we do does not have to conflict with what they might do. And if they're willing to help, then they can join or ask to join them. I watch a lot of Dateline, and I've seen how they have found people that the police were never able to get their hands to because the community knows the areas better than the police who don't live in them.
Thank you, Miss Brenda.
Okay, Sandra.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Morning,
How
dear.
y'all doing?
Good.
So, I don't know if a lot of people know who Andrel really is. Andrel is family to the Walton. He's a full-blooded Walton clan member. His uncle was Truman Walton, and I have no idea what could have caused this. I mean, he seems to be a very strong-minded person and has his life together. I don't want to speculate or make an assumption, but something doesn't feel right in my spirit about it, Sandra. I can be honest with you. And what I'm feeling is somebody has harmed him. I'm not feeling that he has harmed himself, or maybe someone has harmed him and he may be gone and harm him. I don't know. But I agree with what Miss Brenda said. I'm not there to help with any search or join it. But if they're the Walton clan in Grand Cayman, all of you Waltons, this is our family gone missing. Come on, get with Miss Brenda or anybody else who really wants to find this young man. Let's find him and help him if that's what he needs, because he is a native child of the soil and we don't need to lose any more numbers in that area. Okay, we need to reach out and help our people. All of us, we need to unite more than we are. Us natives are not bonded enough and united enough in this country. And that is why a lot of our people feel distanced and feel segregated and desensitized. And that's why we natives must come together and form our own band of unity and work with each other and help each other. So I'm sending out prayers to our family, our Walton clan. Y'all need to help find Andrel because he is a son of our soil. And thank you so much. Awesome show today. I give you so much credit for it. I was listening while cleaning my sanctuary. So you have a great day, Sandra. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. All right, we do have another call on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
I didn't know if it was me. I agree that there should be a search party, but it should be in conjunction with the RCIPS. And the reason I say that is because, especially if people are going to search around the Pedro Castle area, the last thing we need is for someone else to be in danger, first of all. And second of all, there's more than meets the eye, right? Like, I'm not trying to say what's happening, right? Because we don't know.
Right.
But I'm just going to give some scenarios. Suppose you do find him and he is suicidal. Are you trained and prepared to talk someone down from that? Like, we have to be smart. Yes, we all want to help. I want to help. But we have to be smart as well. So I would say that if there is a search, it needs to be in conjunction with RCIPS and someone from or several people from HSA and the mental health community. Like, we can't just be
Yes, it has to be
willy-nilly about this, if you get what I'm saying.
Yes,
I agree there should be a search, and RCIPF needs to communicate with the people and try to organize this, but it has to be done safely and properly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, caller. Yes, indeed. So just a few more comments here, and then we're going to wrap this up. This person says, great show this morning. The correlation of suicide is an interesting topic as well. I remember reading somewhere that suicide rates typically drop during wartime. So yes, it would seem that suicide rates go down during difficult periods, and go up during happy periods. Suicide rates also spike during the holidays, i.e. Christmas, the happiest time of the year for some. It's not the case for others. I pray they find Andrel. Thank you for your show this morning, and to the callers who shared their story. Thank you so much. This person says, great comments from that caller. I battle with the struggle of climbing out of a hole after divorce. It seems like every time I made it up an inch, my ex-wife is waiting to pull me back down. The real feeling is that you cannot do for your children or your new wife, so you're left feeling, what good am I? Then that selfish feeling of suicide comes into play. And let's not call it selfish, please. After today, we're going to start trying to use the correct terminology, okay? And at that point, you frantically try to find a reason not to, because of faith, family, and optimism. Hope this makes sense. Thank you so much. That's coming from one of our male listeners. This person says, I'm so proud of this caller for his humility and honesty. Thank him for sharing in his vulnerability. Undoubtedly, he has helped many this morning. Sounds like you need to have a special segment or call-in show for people who want to share on these type of topics, something proactive rather than reactive. In this country, we don't pay enough attention to or offer enough support for grief, which comes in various forms. Very interesting. Depression is so hidden. Most people don't know how to recognize the signs, are not aware that they have this. And it was interesting that one caller said it was somebody else who said to him, you're depressed and you need to get help for this, because he himself was not recognizing the signs. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I have a brilliant idea that a friend of mine brought up. Anyone who has drones, that's a safe way to search. If you have a drone and you're willing to help, maybe that is a safe way where you can fly your drone around the area, maybe even out in the water and stuff. If you have drones and you're willing to help, maybe that's a safe way, a drone with a camera.
That's not a bad idea at all.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Someone says, can you please block Gabby? She is an idiot. Oh, Lord, have mercy. All right. What a mess. Okay. Let's stay positive, huh? Until we know something different. That is a brilliant idea, actually. Marlon has a drone, but I'll tell you, I don't have any way. I don't know how to use it, so I can't. Now would not be the time to try to learn. Here are some resources for those of you thinking about children and how you can help to support them. There are lots of resources. This book I have. If you have children, there's these tools are available. Amazon has a plethora of books, and our local bookstore as well. Next chapter, but here's one. It's a worry workbook for kids, 50 plus fun activities to reduce stress, change your mindset, and embrace your life for children ages 8 to 12. All very, very critical stages in life. We also have something I'd like to recommend to adults. This is something that, there's so many great self-help books out there. If you're a reader and you enjoy reading, by all means, check some of these out. but they're coloring books for adults, and they help. I actually have a few. I haven't started my coloring journey yet, but I do have them, and they help you with just almost like a meditative thing to do. Coloring takes you back to the fun times of childhood, and so there's a lot of things that you can do there, and they're called coloring for therapy, and there's tons of them, and I love to give these to people as gifts with like a little pencil set. And these are also fantastic if you're looking to try something new and different, and a different way of releasing yourself. They have like different themes. Like I have the Golden Girls coloring book. That one I think is color by number, but here's one, coloring for therapy. And they're very, very intricate, and it really helps to, give your mind, it's considered therapy. It's motivational, inspiring to be able to color, believe it or not. Good morning, caller.
Sandra?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to call back. And I'm not being combative to anyone here, but the caller who called to say that I guess they were trashing my idea, they had a brilliant idea about drones. Let me respectfully suggest that would not be a good idea, because since we don't know what the situation is, when people are in this, assuming that it's a mental break or whatever, there are sound figures and so on that scare the life out of them. And I can tell you that a drone would not be a good idea now, because any sound or anything that is unfamiliar to the person. So I would hope that nobody did that unless they actually know him and can talk to him from the drone, which I don't think is possible. So I wouldn't suggest that they do that. I think it is better to do it by foot. And I mean, God forbid that you walk up on the worst case scenario, you don't attempt to go any closer, then you call in for help. And if it's going to be done with professionals, then make sure that one of them is close by, that, you call them and ask them, tell them where you are, what you've seen, and you let them take it over from there.
Okay.
And the police does not have anyone that is trained to deal with mental health. I think we all know that.
Thank you, caller.
So,
What I will say about drones, like I said, my husband does have one. They do fly quite high, and they have the ability to zoom in. So you would not hear that. That's not a very loud sound. In fact, after it takes off the ground, you can't really hear a drone. They are pretty silent. So I think in terms of the noise element of it, you don't really have to worry about that. But they have the ability to zoom in on different things, and you can even take pictures, you can record and take video and stuff like that as well. So I don't think the sound would be an issue. You wouldn't be communicating with them through the drone, but again, the sound actually wouldn't be a concern because they're extremely silent. They're stealth, and they can go so high up. Like there are literally times Marlon has his drone up and I'm like, where is it? I can't even put a visual on it. So I don't think that that's something that you'd have to worry about. Yes, El Ray confirms that. He says the drone would be high up and almost silent to people on the ground. It would be silent to people on the ground. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Hi there.
No, hi there, Sandra. This is Andrel.
Morning.
Morning. While I know you have a gossiping pipeline, there are things that is being said on your show that is not true. And I would ask you to stop having him as the highlight of the day. And here to your business, not his, and allow the family to research for my son. My son is well, he's not dead.
No, nobody, just to be clear, nobody said that.
But no. Let me tell you something, Sandra. You love to take things out of proportion. I'm a very calm person. Andrel is a very relaxed person.
Okay.
I gave you no right. You did not even try and find out where I was before you started it. Why don't you tell the public about the married man that killed himself that you were fucking? talk about that. Leave my child. You don't know me and you don't want to brush me the wrong way in an emotional state. So get the hell off of Andrel Harris back the 1st of March 1991 and let him rest. Let the public, let Cayman come out and look for him because we all love him. You don't know Jack, and don't let people telling you, but you have your gossipers telling you. If you don't get it from the press or from the horse's mouth, do not utter a word. I don't want you there sitting and building up money wrong on Andrel Harris. Do not try to my child. No, not about war. You pretend like your family, like you are such a goody shoe. You're not, Sandra. You're not. So I'm gonna tell you, pay attention. The lady had to raise her daughter by herself. Why don't you tell the public that? When you promised to release the pictures of him and he fucking killed himself, why don't you tell the public about that? Huh? You're just sitting on Andrel Harris's name. You don't know jack about Andrel. Andrel wasn't depressed. Andrel, I heard a lady talk about health. There's nothing Andrel hides from his family. And if I don't know, my husband knows. If Andrel don't come to me first, my husband knows everything. All right? The family got what we supposed to got, and we know what's going on. I went and fasted Sunday, and on Monday I called him. I said, Papi, I pick up in my spirit, you're not feeling well. I said, Mom, everything is okay. I spoke to his workplace, he was okay, right? But nobody knows what happened between 8:30 and 9:30, right? Because he was at home and he and his landlord's son was outside talking, right? And there's a story, and the timeline is not adding up. Whoever picked him up, it's not adding up, and we don't know what, and that is off character of Andrel. It's off character of Andrel, right? So I'm going to ask you, tell the public about the married man that you were fucking that to himself. Just back the hell off, Andrel. Have a good day.
All right. So, first of all, no married man killed himself. There was a guy, and I know who she's talking about, that actually had a heart condition, and he had a heart attack. He didn't kill himself. So I'm not going to respond to you because I'm going to give you, except to say that you're putting information out there that actually isn't accurate, but I'm going to give you grace in this moment. A lot of people now calling you ungrateful, and I see the comments. Let's just give her grace, because when someone is going through this, they themselves, they think they know everything, and they think they know everything about the individuals, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. We're going to just give her grace. She's under an amount of stress that probably none of us can understand because we haven't been there. But just like you want people to speak facts, you should speak facts. I've never dealt with anybody who killed themselves. A person having a heart attack after having a lifelong heart condition, that's not suicide. We have not said anything negative about your son this morning, and everybody's shocked by the mother. And like I said, let's just give her grace, okay? And there would be a lot of things that I could have said this morning that I have not said. I know a lot more than I'm obviously saying, and I'm still not saying anything. So whatever grace she needs in this time, take it. You want to take it out on me? That's fine. That's no problem. No one is trying to be here being a goody two shoes. We're taking this opportunity to talk about broader issues in this community. I have at no point said that Andrel Harris was suffering from depression or mental issues. I have taken an opportunity of someone who is missing today to say, if anyone in this community needs help, there is help available to you. You don't have to suffer in silence. Yes, everybody thinks because someone tells you nothing's wrong with them, that nothing's wrong with them. Okay. Eventually, these things become a matter of public information, by the way. There will be a public inquest if something bad happens here. And like I said, I want us to remain positive. And we will know everything. We will know who received phone calls, who got text messages saying X, Y, and Z. At this particular time, I'm not divulging or saying any of these things. that I know for a fact. This isn't about gossip. And no one is trying to put any kind of negative light on Andrel. As I said from the onset, he is a young man that we should all be proud of where he is in life. Okay? So, but when people are hurting, they will say things and they will do things that, wow, it's fine. Absolutely fine. I'm okay. Miss Lucille, that's not what was said. That is not what was said. And you see, this is where now confusion comes in. Miss Lucille says, I'm happy to hear that he's alive. He's missing. All we know is that he's missing. I mean, that's not all I know. But in the public domain, all we know is that he's missing. She said he was fine. She said he was found. Don't confuse what was said, Miss Lucille. And to that mother, as a mother myself, I can only say to you that this community is trying to support you. And we are trying to find Andrel. That's the most important thing right now. And to bring him back safely to his family. Everybody wants that. I don't really know what else to say. You know, people certainly can take things the wrong way. Gabby says that was ungrateful, though. Give people grace. Debbie says, Sandra, I can't take the ignorance anymore. Good night from Thailand, bedtime. Bluff Cat says, you're not the only media talking about it. Well, I mean, he works for a media organization. And we have to remember that when we're in a public space, I mean, heaven forbid, you know, something happens to me tomorrow, people are going to be talking about it because we all work in a public space. Somebody said, oh my God, who's this woman? This woman is out of order. Another person says, morning, hun. Not everything we tell our parents. I'm speaking for myself. Love you. We know that. Normally your parents and family members are the last ones to know. Especially with young people. Every parent who has had a child who's done anything in life would recognize good, bad, indifferent. The parents are normally the last ones to get the phone call. Mom, I just graduated. All their friends know it's already on Instagram. Other people know what's going on. But we're going to let her. Somebody says, oh, heart, just let her vent. You had nothing negative to say about Andrel. You were letting her get her steam out. Yep, go ahead. It's fine. We can only imagine what she's going through. This person said, I agree with you. She's hurting. Your reaction says a lot about you and your character in giving her grace. Just keep up the positivity. Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. This isn't about me. And so anyone who tries to make this about me, you know, it's not about me. Let's just bring Andrel home safely to his family. He's got children. And so he's got a mother and a father and people who love him very, very much. And lots of work colleagues, even myself, being in that space. You know what is so funny, though? I said something earlier, and I'm not going to go into any details, but there is something that happened with Andrel a few years ago that I was very, very much aware of. And I did not bring it up in the public domain because it was something that could have had a devastating impact on his professional career and his life. And I chose, from a media perspective, although it was well within my rights to report on it, I chose not to report on it. And I wonder, even as a mother, if she herself knows about that incident and what that was about. And knowing that I knew about it and took a path of, I knew Andrel was in law school and I wanted him to be on a better path. And so this thing, which would have put extreme pressure and negative light on him, being in the public eye already, was something that I chose and made a conscious decision not to report on. You see, you guys only see certain things, and there's a lot that you do not know. There's a lot that you don't know in terms of what actually is happening around you. There's a lot I don't know either. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, let I correct myself. I only tell you because I understand the mother say that he's okay. So I told you to take your blow for the thanks you get and close the show.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Jim says, I'm taking away this morning's CMR show. You're making people aware that it is a news story. And more importantly, you have permitted an open platform for people to express themselves freely in the majority without judgment from others. Let them. Strong Wilson, Sandy, just leave it alone. You were just trying to help the situation. Sophia says, Sandy, you just do what you do best, as you had nothing bad to say. And thanks for all the callers that shared their stories to encourage others to get help. Jacqueline, good morning, says, I do apologize for my sister's behavior. She's going through a lot right now. Please forgive us. Jacqueline, that means that this is your nephew, and apology accepted. Like, honestly, I don't know her. I don't think I know her, but we can only imagine really and truly what your family is going through. And so we're going to uplift you guys in prayer this morning. Anybody wants to call in and perhaps say a prayer for this family, I'm happy to end the show on that type of a positive note. Ms. Jacqueline and all of the family know that we are hoping for nothing but positivity to come your way today. Good news. So good news is still possible in our heart of hearts. We want to believe that for sure. Okay. This person says, thank you for your show this morning. Thank you for handling it the way you did. Please share whenever possible, if any search group is needed or a class wants to volunteer. We call the police and no one knows anything about it or how we, the public, can help in the search. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I'd love to end the show with a prayer if you're ready to end.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for those of us who woke up this morning. Let us not take our lives for granted, Lord. Lord, we don't know the situation that's going on. We don't all have the details, Lord, but we just pray that Andrel will be found and he will be found unharmed and safe, Lord. Father God, we pray for all those who are struggling with mental health. We pray that you would give them the strength and the courage to seek help. Lord, we pray that each and every one of us would take responsibility for those around us and those in our lives, Lord, that we would check on them, that we'd pay close attention and notice signs, Lord, even before persons come forward and ask for help. May we notice the signs and just reach out and give love and help where we see the need, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you would just continue to bless this platform. I pray that those who need a voice will have a voice, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. Someone just shared this, and I just want to post this up here and briefly read this, and then we're going to go ahead and end the program here today. Thank you so much for that prayer of encouragement. This is his sister has posted this. Lanny Watson says, it is with deep concern and heavy hearts that I share that my beloved brother is currently missing. What a beautiful young lady. This is an incredibly difficult time for a family, and we're doing everything within our power to locate him and bring him home safely. We're actively working in close coordination with the coastal search and rescue teams, air support, and police authorities. Their tireless efforts and dedication in the search are deeply appreciated, and we remain hopeful as the investigation continues. We ask for privacy as we navigate this painful and uncertain time, and we kindly urge anyone who may have information to come forward and assist the authorities. We are immensely grateful for the outpouring of support, prayers, and help from the community. Your strength gives us hope. Kindest regards, Lanny. And so again, to the family, our prayers and thoughts are most certainly with you this morning. And on that note, again, thank you guys all so much for tuning into the show. If you have any information that could be useful, by all means, please, please, please provide that to the authorities. Any messages, any phone calls, anything at all that you have that would assist in, oh my goodness, I don't know if that person was calling. Anything that you have at all, folks, that would assist them, please do provide that information to the authorities, okay? If we hear of anything else in terms of, any search and rescue efforts, we will make that available. So stay tuned to our social media channels. We will post it on social media if a search team from the public perspective is required. But I know, again, that our different uniformed services are out there doing the best that they can do. And so let's, for now, I would say stay out of their way and let them do their jobs to try to bring hopefully a positive resolution to this situation. Folks, please be blessed and have a wonderful Thursday afternoon.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.